Hey everyone, this is Neil here on the EndlessPens channel. I did a video in the past for Endless that was a comparison between Radius and Leonardo. This time I'm going to do a comparison on the new Furore models from Leonardo. So we have the old one, the new one, and then we also have the Dolce Vita, which just came out recently. So all of these are very similar, but I think there is some question out there in the pen world about the differences, and that's what I'm here to show you. Starting out, the most noticeable change between the normal Furore and the redesign is the sleeve. This original one kind of has more of like a craft paper feel, or like watercolor paper, if you know what I'm talking about. Because of that, the paper is a little kind of spotty as well, whereas the new one is fully smooth, it looks a little bit glossy, and the print looks much higher quality. Whereas the Dolce Vita has its own specific box, and it's a little bit more special. Here's what the Memento Zero special editions come in, and it's that same kind of texture and sleeve. It's got some text on the front here that's a little bit glossy, but still translucent. I think this definitely comes across as the most elevated out of all three. Inside of the box, before we get into the pens, every one of them comes with warranty instructions. The original Furore came with this booklet, which is a bit outdated now as they've updated the inside of here. This kind of shows pictures about all the pen colorways and what have you. So the new book is a lot more akin to what you're used to. So you'll see this in any sort of Memento Zero box or any Leonardo box that you buy in current day. And then the Dolce Vita has a smaller booklet than the rest, but it just comes off as the most elegant. And it tells you congrats on your purchase. A detail that can be missed pretty easily, on the normal Leonardo box, it says Leonardo Officina Italiana. Hopefully that didn't sound too rough, but on the Dolce Vita, it is printed on the inside of here. And I actually asked Salva about this because they have a R up here. This is a registered trademark. Him and his sister own this name specifically for their pen. Pretty cool, I like that. And here are the three pens we're gonna be looking at today. When all of these are side by side, the differences are noticeable pretty much immediately. This is your standard Furore, or at least the original one. This is the Furore Redesign. And then this one is the Dolce Vita. When it comes to the cap of the new Furore Redesign and the Dolce Vita, I really like what they did here. On the original one, the cap met the ring right here on the body. This is very similar to the Memento Zero, whereas the redesign, both of these caps actually overhang over the body. There is still a ring there on the inside, but you can see how much farther down that goes. Another detail I'm noticing right away is the width of the cap. I think that's due to the step down. You have to make it wider to be able to create that step down. So both of these two newer pens have a wider cap. Even with the cap redesign, it's not adding anything to the overall length here. Since these new caps overhang, it enables it to have the same proportion, even though the cap on this one is bigger and goes down farther. Another big pro to that cap redesign is posting. The original one posts very similar to the Memento Zero if you've ever posted that pen, but the new redesign, since it's naturally made to have some overhang, it goes deeper when you post. So side by side, you can see how much deeper this is posting, which actually gives you such a better proportion here. This is way more ideal if you're someone that likes to post. As you continue down the bodies, you're gonna see all of these are pretty much identical, except the trim ring right here at the end. The trim ring on the original is because this is actually a blind cap for your converter. The new pens do not have a blind cap. Personally, to me, I never use the blind cap for a converter. I always take the pen apart. I don't know if it's just out of habit, but I also think it gives you a much more streamlined design to not have that ring at the end here. I would love to hear your opinion though. Do you think it's actually an upgrade or a downgrade to get rid of the blind cap? So leave that in the comments down below. And now we really got to look at these bands individually. The original Furore has two bands on it, and that was its classic design. Nothing too crazy there, nothing too flashy. But to keep it more in line with the modern Memento Zero, I believe that is why they did this shift. So the new Furore redesign has three bands, very similar to the Memento Zero. And the Dolce Vita band is miles above both of them. Not that I don't like the simple design of three bands or two bands, but this is super elevated. It almost has like a matte look to the metal too. I really like this new band. The The band of this is made to play on that classic kind of heritage aesthetic of Italian pens. The whole point of the Dolce Vita, which we'll get into a little bit later, is an homage to the original Italian way of pens. On the original one, I can't seem to find any engraving, whereas the new one, it says Leonardo 244. The reason this says 244 is that is the number this was made in production. On his baseline models, he counts up only, you don't count down or out of anything because he's gonna continue to make these. So I got number 244. And then on the back of the Dolce Vita cap, he has a much more modern style of engraving. It says Leonardo X Dolce Vita 059, because again, we're counting up, this is number 59. I wonder what he would do if he made more than 1,000 though, because there's a 0, what do you do? For those of you that like dimensions, the new cap at its widest point is 16.45 millimeters, and that's not counting the band, whereas the original one is 15.47, so we'll just say 15 again. So there's actually about a 1 millimeter difference on the two caps here, which doesn't sound like much, but due to the step down making this cap just longer in general, it does look like it's quite a bit wider, but it's really not in practice. Taking the caps off, we have more big changes. The grip section on here is way different. The original Furore has the grip that you're used to seeing on the Memento Zero, which it tapers down to the end and then goes straight to an edge leading all the way to your nib. The new ones have a grip that's more reminiscent of the Memento Zero Grande 2.0. It's wider, it tapers towards the end, and then it has the flare out to keep you from falling forward onto your nib. This is a change that I'm really happy to see. If you can ignore the trim, every one of these is using the same steel nib from Leonardo. They do offer gold versions, I just don't have one here. I'm using steel on all three of these. And if you're not familiar with their nib, this is called the La Fenice nib. I think it has the best filigree of any nib on the market right now. It's also stamped instead of engraved, so they're also giving it that little extra bit of elegance on top of everything else. This pattern is super clean no matter how you look at it. The feeds on every one of the steel nibs is an ABS plastic feed. Something that you will not notice right away is behind the threads on the traditional Furore, there is a big divider here, and that is because this cap merges and meets evenly with the body, whereas the new one has overhang because the cap goes down the body. As for the final details externally, there is a trim ring underneath the cap on the original that you can see. Because of the new caps though, you don't see that anymore. As I am unscrewing this, all of these pens are cartridge converter pens, which means they have a converter on the inside. A change I'm surprised to see is gonna be the converter. On the original, it used the metal sleeve converter. You're used to seeing this on all of your Memento Zero models. And I actually asked Salva directly. He said this metal sleeve design is gonna be specifically only for the Memento Zero from now on. I think that's a big change that may be a little bit polarizing for people. So on the new one, you have a more traditional converter. It is still branded Leonardo, however, and it is a screw-in converter. I've said this before, and it may just be a placebo effect, but I really like when converters screw in versus friction fit. For those curious, these are not interchangeable amongst the bodies with the old one and the newer ones, but the newer one will fit into the other Furore. So if you want to do something like this, theoretically you could. I don't think this looks too bad, and I don't know that Endless wants me to do it, but come on now. It's kind of sick. Another difference that you would not pick up on unless you're looking at these very close like I am here is the housing unit for the nib. You can actually see it right here. That's the end of this grip. That black bit is part of your nib unit, whereas in the new grip, it actually sits inside. It's a lot more plush, and I think personally, that looks a lot better. Not that this was bad, but if we're talking craftsmanship and aesthetics, putting that in there and kind of hiding that edge seamlessly looks very good. And when it comes to the writing experience with these nibs, I would say that Leonardo really puts their best foot forward. In my opinion, I think that Leonardo makes some of the best, if not the best, steel nibs on the market. They're smooth, consistent, and the ink flow for me has always been great. And just because I thought you guys might be curious, I grabbed a Memento Zero and a Memento Zero Grande 2.0 to give you a comparison with the rest of these models. Surprisingly, the Furore is a lot closer to the Grande 2.0 in size than I would have thought. It's not very different. Once you have these lined up on the bottom, it really looks like the top point of this meets right where this cap transitions into that point. So it's a decently sized pen. Whereas with your standard Memento Zero, once they're lined up, it's bigger than that. Once the caps are off though, it's not gonna feel bigger than that. It's just that the cap is slightly longer on the Furore than on the Memento Zero. Well, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed my comparison amongst the Furore Redesign, and then the Dolce Vita. I really like when brands go out of their way to make new models, but I also really enjoy when they want to redesign. Go back to the drawing board and improve in ways that you didn't think you were ever gonna do. I really like that. He's done it before with the Memento Zero Grande to the Grande 2.0. It's nice to see changes like this happen, and I commend brands that are willing to do that. As always, thank you guys for watching, and thank you Endless for letting me do this video on your channel. Goodbye. Why won't you come out? Please.